Mem and Zîn, the great Kurdish love story. Mem and Zîn was written in 1695 by the great Kurdish poet and thinker Ehmedê Xanî. For many Kurdish people, Mem and Zîn is like the Romeo and Juliet of Kurdish literature. It is the story of two young hearts that love each other deeply but cannot come together. It is a story of beauty, jealousy, betrayal, and sorrow. But it is also more than a love story. It is a story about the soul, about fate, and about a love that becomes stronger than death. Long ago, in the land of Bhutan, there was a city called Jizra. The city stood beside the river, under a wide sky. Around it were mountains, gardens, fields, and old stone streets. In spring, when the cold days ended and the flowers returned, the people of Jizra prepared for a Nehroz. Nehroz was not an ordinary day. It was the day of new life. It was the day when winter stepped back and the earth opened its eyes again. The streets were filled with color. Young people wore their finest clothes. Music rose from every corner. People laughed, danced, sang, and walked through the city as if the whole world had become young again. On that day, two young men walked among the people. One was Mem. Mem was young, noble, and gentle. He had a brave heart, but there was also a quiet sadness inside him, as if his soul was waiting for something it had not yet found. Beside him was his close friend Tajdin. Tajdin was loyal, strong, and true. He loved Mem like a brother. Wherever Mem went, Tajdin was near him. On the same day, two young women also came out to see the celebration. One was Zîn. Zîn was the sister of the Prince of Bhutan. She was beautiful, but her beauty was not only in her face. There was kindness in her eyes and dignity in the way she moved. She was like a candle in a quiet room, giving light without making noise. Beside her was her sister, Siti. Siti was also beautiful and noble. Like Zîn, she had grown up inside the walls of power, but her heart still longed for freedom, spring, and the open air. That day, destiny was moving quietly through the crowd. Mem and Zîn saw each other. It happened in a moment. There was music, there were flowers, there were voices and footsteps all around them. But when their eyes met, the noise of the city seemed to fade away. Mem looked at Zîn, and something inside him changed forever. Zîn looked at Mem, and her heart knew him before her mind could speak. They had not spoken, they had not touched, they had only seen each other. But sometimes the soul recognizes another soul before a single word is said. In that one moment, a whole life began. Tajdin also saw Siti, and love entered his heart too. So, on the day of Nehroz, when the world was celebrating new life, two loves were born. Mem loved Zîn. Zîn loved Mem. Tajdin loved Siti. Siti loved Tajdin. But love is not always welcomed by the world. Soon, Tajdin and Siti were allowed to marry. Their love found a path. But Mem and Zîn were not so lucky. Between them stood pride, fear, power, and one dark heart. His name was Beko. Beko was close to the prince. He was clever but not wise. He could speak sweet words, but his heart was bitter. He watched people carefully, not to help them, but to find their weak places. He saw the love between Mem and Zîn, and instead of feeling joy, he felt jealousy. Some people cannot bear the happiness of others. Beko looked at Mem and Zîn, and their pure love burned him inside. He could not allow them to come together. So he began to plan. In this story, Beko is not only one man. He is also a symbol. He is the voice of envy. He is the whisper that separates people. He is the shadow that enters between two lights. He is the sickness of the heart that cannot love, and so it tries to destroy love. Mem and Zîn loved each other quietly. Their hearts spoke even when their mouths were silent. But in a palace, secrets do not stay hidden for long. Beko carried words from one ear to another. He twisted truth into poison. He made the prince angry. He made love look like shame. He made loyalty look like betrayal. The Prince of Boktan was powerful. He loved his family, but he also cared deeply about honor, rules, and control. When he heard about Mem and Zîn, his heart became hard. Instead of seeing their love as pure, he saw it as danger. This is one of the sad truths of the story. Sometimes love suffers not because it is wrong, but because the world is afraid of it. Mem did not want power. He did not want a throne. He only wanted Zîn. Zîn did not want wealth. She did not want glory. She only wanted Mem. But simple love can become impossible when pride stands in the way. Beko continued his plan. He waited for the right moment. Then, during a game of chess with the prince, he pushed Mem towards the trap. The room was quiet. The prince sat before the chessboard. Mem was there too, his heart heavy with hidden love. Beko watched like a snake in the grass. Piece by piece, move by move, the game went on. But the real game was not on the board. The real game was in Beko's mind. He spoke in a way that touched Mem's wound. He provoked him. He led him toward confession. And Mem, already burning with love and sorrow, could not hide the truth forever. His love came out. The prince heard it. Anger rose in the room. For the prince, this was not only love. It was disobedience. It was dishonor. It was something he could not accept. So he gave a cruel order. Mem was taken away and thrown into prison. The doors closed, the light disappeared, and the love story entered its darkest night. Mem was placed in a deep, dark prison. The walls were cold, the air was heavy, days and nights lost their shape. There was no music there, no flowers, no Neiros, no bright streets of Jizra, only darkness. But even in darkness, Mem carried Zîn inside his heart. He thought of her face. He remembered the first moment when he saw her. He remembered the light in her eyes. That memory became both his pain and his comfort. Outside the prison, Zîn suffered too. She was not behind walls of stone, but she was also a prisoner. Her palace became a cage. Her fine clothes felt heavy. Her room felt empty. People spoke to her, but she heard only the silence of Mem's absence. This is why Mem and Zîn is not only a story about two people, it is a story about separation. Mem is separated from Zîn. Zîn is separated from Mem. But deeper than that, the soul is separated from what it loves most. And this is why the story touches people so deeply. Everyone knows separation in some way. A person can be separated from a loved one. A people can be separated from their land. A heart can be separated from peace. A soul can be separated from truth. In the story, Mem and Zîn become symbols of all these separations. Tajdin tried to help his friend. He loved Mem and wanted to save him. He gathered people. He looked for a way. But Beko's darkness had already spread through the palace. Every road seemed closed. Mem grew weaker in prison. His body became thin. His face lost its color. But his love did not die. In fact, it became purer. At first, his love was the love of a young man for a beautiful woman. But in the darkness of prison, love changed. It became deeper. It became prayer. It became fire. It became something that belonged not only to the body but to the soul. This is the mystical meaning of the story. In the beginning, Mem loves Zîn as a person, but slowly his love becomes a path. Through Zîn, he begins to understand a greater love. The beloved becomes a mirror. In her beauty, he sees a light that is beyond this world. For Ehmedê Xanî, love is not only emotion. Love is a door. If it is pure, it can lead the soul toward God. But the world around Mem and Zîn is not pure. It is full of jealousy, pride, fear, and power. That is why their love cannot live easily in this world. Zîn heard that Mem was dying. Her heart broke again and again. She wanted to see him. She wanted to speak to him. She wanted to tell him that her love had not changed, but the walls between them were high. At last, Mem's body could no longer carry the weight of sorrow. In the prison, far from the light of Neiros and far from the eyes of Zîn, Mem died. The news moved through Jizra like a cold wind. When Zin heard that Mem had died, the world around her disappeared. She went to his grave. There, beside the earth that held him, she cried with a grief too deep for words. Her love had no place left to go. The one she had waited for was gone. The voice she longed to hear was silent. But for Zin, death was not an ending. It was the last road to Mem. Her body became weak. Her heart could not remain in this world without him. Soon after, Zin also died. The people buried her beside Mem. At last, the two lovers were close. The city mourned them. The people of Jizra spoke their names with tears. They understood too late that this love had been innocent. They understood too late that Beko had poisoned the story. When the truth became clear, Beko could not hide anymore. His tricks were revealed. His jealousy was known. People saw that he had stood between two pure hearts and had pushed them toward death. Tajdin, faithful to the end, punished Beko. But even after Beko died, his darkness did not disappear easily. He was buried near Mem and Zîn. Then something strange happened. From the place connected with Beko, a thorn bush grew. Its roots went deep into the earth. Its branches rose between the graves of Mem and Zîn. Even in death, the lovers were separated by thorns. This is one of the strongest symbols in Kurdish literature. The thorn bush is not only a plant, it is the sign of hatred that survives after the hateful person is gone. It is the sign of division. It is the sign of the forces that keep lovers apart, families apart, people apart, and nations apart. For many Kurdish listeners, Mem and Zîn are not only two lovers, they also become a symbol of a divided Kurdish heart. Mem and Zîn want to come together, but something always stands between them. Their love is pure, but the world is broken. Their hearts are united, but the ground itself grows thorns. That is why this story is so important. It is not only sad, it is beautiful, because it keeps love alive. Beko may separate their graves, but he cannot destroy their names. The thorn bush may grow between them, but it cannot erase their story. Mem and Zîn die, but their love continues to live in the memory of the people. And maybe this is the secret of all great love stories. Romeo and Juliet die, but people still remember their love. Mem and Zîn die, but their names still move from heart to heart. Their bodies are gone, but the question remains, what kind of world allows pure love to die? And what kind of heart allows jealousy to become stronger than mercy? This story asks us to look inside ourselves. Is there a Beko inside us? Is there a jealous voice that cannot bear the happiness of others? Is there a thorn bush in the heart growing between love and forgiveness? And is there also a Mem inside us longing for truth? Is there a Zîn inside us waiting with patience and sorrow? Mem and Zîn teaches us that love is not weak. Love may suffer, but it does not disappear. It may be buried, but it rises again in story, in song, in memory, and in the soul of a people. The city of Jizra still remembers them. The land of Botan still carries their names. And every time their story is told, the flowers of Neyroz seem to open again. Long ago, Mem saw Zîn. Zîn saw Mem. Their eyes met for only a moment. But in that moment, a whole life began. And although the world separated them, love made them eternal.